Hello everyone and welcome back to another Helmed Tower video. In this one I'm going to be giving you a guide for one of the many bosses in Wayfinder. First, I just want to say thank you for checking out the first Wayfinder video I made a few weeks back. A lot more people checked it out than I thought would, so it's very much appreciated. If you like Wayfinder and want to see more videos, please subscribe to the channel as I'll be covering the game here with various news and updates the developers put out, as well as the occasional guides like these. In this video, I wanted to focus on the Dread Legion boss hunt. From my experience, I definitely consider it one of the more challenging bosses in the game currently, because it has a few different mechanics you want to be aware of, as well as some timed platforming sections you'll need to get comfortable with. I've seen a lot of players struggle with a few of these aspects, especially when it's your first time in the fight, so I wanted to make this quick guide to give you a breakdown of what's going on, because I think once you have a grasp on the mechanics and the route you need to take through the arenas, it'll become a much more manageable fight for you. When you start the hunt, you'll run ahead into this portal, and once on the other side, you'll be greeted by two enemies. One will be the typical husk-looking creature, and the other will be a flying one. I don't know their names, but you've probably seen them plenty of times before. You'll notice that your attacks don't do anything to the husk creature, and that is because it is invulnerable to any of your attacks or abilities. So ignore them and go for the flying creatures, which you can take down pretty quickly. Once you do, you'll see that the creature drops a yellow glowing orb, and this is basically a ticking time bomb. These will explode after a short period if they get left on the ground, so what you need to do is run over them, which will pick it up off the ground and now go back over to the husk enemy and attack them. Once you do this, the bomb will be attached to them and will tick down and explode, finally taking them down. This will drop the barrier, now allowing you to enter the actual Dread Legion encounter. This little opening sequence is here to teach you the main mechanic you'll see throughout all three phases of this boss hunt. Once in the first main arena, the fight with the Dread Legion will begin. You'll see that it starts to spawn a bunch of those husk creatures, and the flying creatures will also spawn in the area. You'll just repeat the process of taking down the flying creatures to create bombs, then pick them up and attack the husk creatures to put the bombs on them like some weird kind of murder hot potato. Once the husks explode, you can see the energy blast will shoot out and attack the Dread Legion flying up in the air. It will do some damage to the yellow guard meter the boss has. Once you blow up enough of the husks, the bar will be emptied, knocking the Dread Legion to the ground and allowing you to follow up with a bunch of attacks. Wail on the big dumb octopus as much as you can, and you'll see it'll go into phase 2. It'll be obvious when it does because it'll become immune to damage again, and it'll do a little spin attack and then fly up into the air into a portal in the sky. This will be the Dread Legion moving on to the next arena, which you will have to chase after. This is a good point to explain the other main mechanic you'll need to be aware of during this entire fight. You may have noticed before entering the first arena that these crazy pink spike looking effects appeared around the arena. It almost looks like some kind of audio spectrometer going up and down on the outer edges. These are showing the edges of a safety zone that you are now in. If you're outside of this, you will start taking a serious amount of damage over time. This circle is around Dread Legion for pretty much the entire fight, so when it moves from different arenas, that zone will move with it, and you'll want to stay inside it as best you can. Now, there is some jankiness to this area. I've had the zone bug out and just not be visible. I've also had times where I get match made into a Dread Legion hunt already in progress, which leaves me far behind with the damage over time already kicked in, which can be pretty annoying when farming this boss, but hopefully they can iron out these things as early access continues. Just wanted you to be aware that these things can happen when taking on this boss hunt. Back to the fight, you'll want to head in this direction over another set of timed platforms you'll want to need to hop between to get to the next arena. Once in that second arena, you'll just want to rinse and repeat the murder hot potato with the flying creatures and husks. That'll knock Dread Legion out of the sky once again, and you can do more damage to them, which will then send him into the third phase of the fight. You'll need to do more platforming sections here, and these are more tricky than the last two. You'll have a bridge disappearing in and out and reappearing. There will be some more shifting platforms after that bridge, and also during this one, you'll need to briefly move out of the safety zone to get across these moving platforms, so definitely be ready to make some tricky jumps or you'll be left behind. I will say there is a cheesy way to skip the platforming section in this part currently in the game that I'll show you, but I'd still recommend getting comfortable with the platforming here, as you never know when they could fix or remove this exploit. I definitely have found myself doing that more because it is easier and more safe, because if you will take no real damage during this. Once you take either of these routes, you'll be in the final arena. Just go ahead and rinse and repeat the bomb making sequence again, knocking Dread Legion out of the air one last time, and then wail on them until he is in the dirt, and there you go, you have yourself a completed Dread Legion boss hunt. I hope this helps you make more sense of this fight, because it can be pretty confusing on the first couple of tries, but you'll need to get comfortable fighting this one if you want to get crafting materials for characters like Kairos or Senja, and weapons like the Epitaph Scythe and the Rosing Thorn daggers need the material drops from this hunt as well. But for now, that's everything I have for you guys regarding the Dread Legion boss hunt. It can be a little confusing on the first try, but once you get the hang of it and know what to look out for, it's not so bad. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.